record button. It's going to tell us. Hey, Laura, how you doing? TGIF, it's Friday, and we are excited because guess what? We are going outside the box here. We're going outside the country, actually.
Yes, we are. We're
And
going out to the country.
We are. And actually, we're doing this fun interview that we have been looking forward to. And Lori, I don't want to say, I want to like turn it back over to you to have you be able to introduce our guests. But I just want to just say really quickly, thank you so much for being here, Brad. We are just so happy you were able to make this work. And Laura, take it away.
I will. I'm so excited. I've been wanting to have him on for a long time. This is my friend that I went to high school with, and Debbie and I both went to high school with, and he has he's living my dream. Okay. He is an award-winning florist and horticulturist. His name is Brad Austin. I could sit and talk about him for hours, but I am going to just introduce him again, and he could go on and talk away. Okay, Brad? Brad Austin, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. It's so nice to see you, ladies, and I'm so excited to be here with you. And I just wanted to share a little bit about my path through my career and how things happened to me and the positive changes I've made in my life that I could not even imagine 5 years ago, even. So as Lori said, I'm a native of Downers Grove. We went to Downers Grove North High School, and my family is still in the area. My brother, he and his wife live in Lombard, and he is managing the Deal Auto in Downers Grove. And he has 2 kids going to college, or almost going to college. Next year, the second one is. And my mom's in Naperville, and she's doing great. And she spent this winter with us in Mexico. So we spent a lot of time together. So after high school, I've always been interested in plants and flowers, and it's been a passion of mine. And like, I always saw like Lori and her family, that was like so cool. And we always got flowers from them, and I just thought that was really this beautiful kind of work. You're dealing with this beautiful flowers and the smell of a florist. I just love that. So I went to school studying horticulture at University of Illinois. And it was just this natural thing that I just felt, it just was my way. I knew what I was going to do, which is really, I think, unusual for younger kids to like know what their path is. But it's kind of meandered back and forth a little bit. But when I graduated from college, I went to work for a florist chain in the Midwest, Phillips Flowers, as you probably know. Mm-hmm. I was assistant manager in the Oak Brook store, and then I was the manager of the Hinsdale store, and then I worked for Hinsdale Flower Shop in the same town. And I was loving the work, but I realized a little late that the winters really got me down. The lack of sun, that whole thing with vitamin D, and it really affected me. And I'd be so like, by the time January got around, like right after Christmas, I was over it. So my grandfather was trying to get me to go to school out in California before college, and I'm like, no, I love Chicago and I'm going to be here for the rest of my life. And well, that didn't happen. So I went out to California. I moved out in 87, and I started working through a friend of my grandfather. Had a relative that was a party planner, and she got me a couple interviews with these big event flower companies. And I had only I went to school in Illinois. My experience were in like mom and pop stores, and I thought when I moved to California, what do people need a florist for? Their whole backyard, they can have flowers year round,
Yeah.
And so I was like kind of clueless. I mean, this was long before Instagram, and now the pressure's on all over the country because everybody can see what everybody's doing. So I was so shocked of the scale of these events, and it would be 20 designers working on the same wedding. So it was really exciting, and so I was, of course, working every weekend, And more than a regular shop, I would say I was working about 60 hours a week. And it was hard to meet new people. And I made a goal of, we got to do something so I can have a little more free time. But that wasn't for a while down the way. Then we would get clients that would want to do patio plantings and gardens. But the florists, they just wanted to do weddings and, you know, bar mitzvahs, quinceañeras, all those kind of parties, you know, anniversaries, premieres. So they said, you know, Brad, you know how to do plants. You want to do these patio jobs on the side? And I said, if it doesn't conflict with you, of course, I'd love to do that. So I started my business, my own business, doing planted planters for a patio. And that was great. And it started building things up. And then after that, I went to, like, for vacation, like, because I didn't take much time off. So I would save up all my days to go to Mexico for 2 weeks and just go to the beach, snorkel, hang out in a hammock, read books and drink beer for 2 weeks, and then go back, recharged. And I've always had this love for Mexico, and we've been going for like 30 years to the same places. And about in 1992, I met my husband, and he worked for Nordstrom's in merchandising at the time. And he had a huge, crazy schedule. I had a crazy schedule. We never, ever had any time except those 2 weeks off. And at this time, I was working like an 80-hour week. So it was really, like, that's 2 full-time jobs, you know? So it was a little insane. And I said, something's got to change a little bit. So I got this, a friend of mine said, I heard about this job. It's a studio florist. And I thought, well, I know event florist, that's weddings and parties and, you know, premieres. And what is a studio florist? They said, well, the studio florist does TV and film, and they do flowers for TV and film. And I said, well, how's that different from anything else, you know? And they said, well, there's a learning curve, because how the camera shoots something is very different, you know, from, and I'm sure, like, if you see something and you take a picture of it and it doesn't look the same as you thought you saw it with your eye, that's exactly how that is. So I started working for that florist, and that was like the most amazing opportunity. You know, it was just a great opportunity. And I had weekends off. It was Monday through Friday. And I'm up early in the morning, so it didn't bother me. Like, they would have a call, which means you have to go set everything up on the set, like at 3 in the morning or 2 in the morning. No problem. So we would do that. And through my time with that shop and then working on my own, I worked on like more than 60 films and about 20, 25 TV shows. So that was really exciting. And I did the soap operas, The Bold and Beautiful and The Young and Restless. And what's really funny about that is Lee Phillips Bell is the writer for that show. And Lee Phillips is what Phillips Flowers, it's the same family. And so
oh my God.
when I know, it's so cool. So when I started doing flowers for them, I brought her some flowers for her office. And she didn't recognize me, so she introduced herself. And I said, well, actually, it's a reintroduction, because you actually made an appearance at my store in Hinsdale for Mother's Day. Because, you know, she used to do radio in Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was kind of like this weird full circle thing there. And so I was loving this whole time, and everything was going great. And I had this client on my own who who I did her patios for, and she has a ranch in northern Nevada. And she said, would you be interested in coming up and re-landscaping this ranch? It's one of those kind of like Ralph Lauren ranches, you know?
Yeah.
And it would need to take time in the summer to go. And that's where one of these things really kicked in with me, because, you know, you get so wrapped up in your security that here's this opportunity knocking on my door. And she wanted me to make a commitment of 3 summers. And I'm still working for this company doing the studio work, and I have my own business. And I put this trip on in my head, like, I cannot ask for this time out, you know, this time off. You know, I'll get fired, and then I won't have any security, you know? And I put myself through such a head trip. And it was spring. It was about March, and I had my 2 weeks in Mexico planned. And I said, when I get back, I'm going to make a decision, because it's getting close to summer and I've got to tell my employer. And my mom had bought me these CDs of Tony Robbins, and this huge stack of that. You can understand what time of year it was. A stack of CDs, you know, it wasn't digital.
Right.
And she kept asking me, "Have you listened to them? Have you listened to them?" And of course, I backburnered it. So I thought, I'm going to take them with me to Mexico, you know. And let's see. Well, 2 days before the vacation was over, I pulled out one of the CDs and I listened to maybe 2. And the one thing he said to me was so like hit home. He said, change happens when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change.
Mm-hmm.
And I started really thinking about my situation, and it's like, what are all the pluses that could happen? You know? And what are the negatives? It's like, well, Brad, you're talented. You're a hard worker. You're a self-starter. If you take this opportunity and you lose your job, you'll find another. And so I made the decision at that moment, and I didn't listen to the rest of the CDs. But for me, if you get one thing out of an inspirational tape or a seminar, you're ahead. It's, you know,
I agree.
If you could, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I came back. I like on Monday, or it was, when was it? On Thursday, I was sweating it out all week. On Thursday, because we worked till Friday, no, Friday morning, I said to my employer, I said, look, I have something important I'd like to talk with you. May I talk with you at the end of the day on Friday? And he like looked at me like somebody died. And I was like, oh no. And, you know, we got through the day, fine, sit down in the office together. And I said, look, there's something really important I need to tell you. He said, I have this offer to do this job, and I need to take 6 weeks off in the summer for the next 3 years. And he looked at me and he just sighed in relief. He said, I thought you were quitting today. You can have those 6 weeks, no problem.
Wow.
And, you know, and I put myself through this whole head trip and such, you know, I'm giving myself an ulcer or something over something that he was so relieved. He's like, don't worry, we'll work it out, no problem. And so from that opportunity, I got many more from the same client. So it's, you know, like a lot of times people say yes for the little things, like the things they should do, but they don't say yes for the scary opportunities that could really do something for them. And that was a huge one for me.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that job, working five summer, it ended up being 5, not 3. And then the client, who was Greek born, bought a house on the island of Santorini. And she said, Brad, do you think you could come to Santorini and help me design the garden? And I was like, in Greece? Like, yes. no angst, no, like, yeah. yes, I can do that. And that ended up being 10 years of going in the spring for a couple of weeks and designing another part of the garden and enjoying Greece, getting paid well. And by that time I was doing my own business, so I could schedule everything around it. And I started building the business into an event business now with some clients I do landscape for. And I don't know many more things. Do you have time so I can keep going, or where?
Well, we have to. Well, we're at a good place. We're at a good place.
Okay.
I want to know if we can just ask a couple questions or just kind of
Yeah,
make a couple
please do.
comments. I just want to say one thing. I want to say
Yeah.
you took your passion, okay? You ran with it. You
Yeah.
you didn't know where it was gonna go. You stuck your neck out on the line. Your grandpa got you over to to California.
California.
That
Yeah.
wasn't an accident. It happened.
Yeah.
It was meant to be. But you also had to make the decisions along the way. You also had
Right.
to. You were scared and and you didn't know how to handle all that and what would come of it. But you also were confident. You knew you could handle it. But it was just there's so many things. And I think people that listen and to your story, which I think is an amazing story. And we want to hear more. And we want to hear like part twos and all that stuff too down the road.
Good.
I feel like people need to realize that sometimes, you gotta risk a little, to get out there. You gotta take that risk. You gotta know, and if something falls backwards and doesn't work, there's going to be more opportunities. Too many people are so scared. So many people these days have gone through such hardships with all this that we've all gone through, and they
Absolutely.
have to reinvent themselves. Some people are doing that right now. They're reinventing themselves. And yeah, are you going to fall down and are you going to have to pick yourself back up? There are times you have to, but look at this fact that we're talking to you in Mexico, which,
I know.
And here we are in Chicago, but that you're doing, like, from what I understand, you're at a milder pace now, I think, right? More
Yes.
of a, okay.
Well, I thought I was semi-retired, but because of COVID, I kept corporate clients for special events, but the days of 400 people in a room are not back yet,
Right.
So I kind of went from semi-retired to fully retired for the moment. I intend to go back as soon as it's able to have those bigger events. Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, Laura, what do you got? I know, Laura, you got questions.
No, I just want to say, Brad, like I said, it's just such an honor to talk to you. But, we're just friends from way back when. And I just remember being at your house for a party and you had your little greenhouse in the back.
Oh, my dad. Yeah, my dear dad supported my habit.
I know. It was, you just loved that. And I knew that you had it in your heart to want to do that. It was just something that you knew you wanted to do. And
the reason my dad helped me with my dream of having a greenhouse was that my mother was sick of me transplanting plants on the carpet in my bedroom.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that's right. I wanted you to talk a little bit about the name of your business. I'm sorry, I should have introduced you with the name of your business.
That's okay. Well, I'm kind of semi-retired, so I know you're going to post like my Instagram name. So I have one for my event floral business called Brad Austin Imaginative Florals and Events. And then all my friends were starting to ask me, like, so what's going on in the house in Mexico? So I did another one, another Instagram page called Brad in Merida. And that's the city where I'm living now. So you can kind of see what's going on so far in the house. We're still renovating it. It's an old colonial house. And the really cool stuff in the garden, because I thought LA was great, but there's equally different wonderful plants you can grow here that I could never grow before. So I'm growing all these bucket list plants out here.
Wow, that's awesome.
That is so wonderful. I don't have any other questions because I just, like I said, I read your bio and, and you're an AIFD floral designer, which I always wanted to be. And you could tell people what it stands for.
It's a great group.
Yes.
It's a great group. Yeah.
Well, I just want to say this is really exciting to be able to give you this, limelight kind of situation that we can learn from. And I feel like you're going to encourage people just in everything that they're doing. It doesn't matter what they're doing. It's just, it's so cool. And we'd love to have you back on. We definitely will.
It would be fun. I think we have lots more to talk about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So anytime, ladies.
Yes, and also just so you know, like, we're trying to grow, and we're for the health and wellness of you is our Facebook group. Our YouTube is the same thing, for the health and wellness of you. And our biggest thing is just encouraging, helping, sharing, being ourselves and our crazy kooky selves. That's what we are. So
It's great to be a part of it. Thank you.
thank you. Thanks. Good. I'm glad. All right. Well, thank you again, Brad. And we're gonna close out, and we will have this, shareable as soon as we can. And we look forward to talking. And we also look forward to when you do come into town. You got to let Lori and I know so that we can, because I know Joan. We're in touch with Joan. I know you get to see Joan. I see Gwen some, and and Lori does.
I saw Gwen just the last time, and I regularly see Barb Brendel Hochstadt.
Oh, yeah.
So we should all get together. It'd be so fun.
Okay. All right, sounds good. All right. Thank you so much,
everyone.
You're welcome.
Have a great weekend. Thank you.
You too. Thanks.
Sounds good. Okay.